Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with 16 tone poems I couldn't live without. No, I couldn't. This series has been great fun. It's generated such a marvelous response from all of you. And I only want to say a couple of things to begin with, as I have with others in this series. 16, that's the number. Do not go over that number. I mean, you can do it. Part of the fun is forcing you to choose, forcing us to pick the ones that we can't live without. Number one. Number two, my list is not definitive. I'm not proposing anything. This is a personal list. This is not my usual unbelievably objective list of the greatest music of all time. It's not. It's just the things I like subjectively. Otherwise, I'm totally objective. You all know that. So let's be subjective. In other words, don't feel that you must include things that aren't on my list if they're not things that you absolutely love. Because I've seen this in some of these other lists. People say, well, you didn't include this, so I'm including it. We don't care. This doesn't have to be comprehensive. The value in this is that some things will be repeated because those, repeat listings will tell others who are looking at this that there is a consensus around what some of the most popular or enjoyable works are. And that in itself is extremely helpful. So don't worry about that. Just give it to me the way you feel it, and we'll take it from there. And you don't have to do 16. It can be up to 16, remember. So, tone poems, symphonic poems, whatever you want to call them. And there's always a blurry line here. It's music. The world of music. Definitions are not set in stone. And so we're going to be doing, tone poems. They can be concert overtures, tone poems before the term was coined by Liszt. Symphonic poem, Tondichtung, tone poem, poème symphonique, whatever you want to call it. Before that, we had concert overtures, but they were nonetheless symphonic poems in all but name. So you can include those too, as long as you're, sticking to the general topic. Don't worry about definitions so much. Some of you have been extremely creative in adding things to your list, whether they be film scores, which I think is marvelous, or piano works. I mean, there are a lot of tone poems written for piano. Think about Iberia, which isn't on my list, but I mean, it's a suite of tone poems for piano. So why not? So go for it. Use your imagination and creativity. Just don't be ridiculous. I mean, you know what you can do. So here we are. You ready? Beethoven Leonora Overture number 3. Unquestionably a tone poem. First of all, it has a distinct plot. It follows the story of the opera, right down to the offstage trumpet that announces, the defeat of the bad guy and the triumphant finale, and all of that stuff is there. And actually, there's a wonderful essay by the great musicologist Donald Francis Tovey on Beethoven's 2 Leonora overtures, which is called, the perfect operatic prologue, or the operatic prologue and the perfect tone poem, where he talks about why Leonora Overture number 3 is a symphonic poem, but number 2 is not. And it's a very, very interesting essay, which I urge you to read if you get a hold of it. Anyway, so that's number 1. It's a symphonic poem, and it set up everything that came afterwards. Well, actually, there's an earlier one, which I didn't include because it's really more of an overture, I think. But it's also a symphonic poem. It's the portrait of chaos from Haydn's The Creation. But it's attached to the oratorio, so I didn't want to throw it in there separately. It doesn't get played separately, but the representation of chaos is a tone poem as well. Beethoven, Leonora Overture number 3. There we have it. Franck, the chasseur maudit. Oh God, I love it. Oh, it was one of the most thrilling things I ever heard originally. It's another tone poem with just a phenomenal story, and it's so graphically illustrated by the music. It's so much fun. I mean, it's bells and hunting horns and a curse. Now, Anna Russell would say, that's the wrong curse, isn't it? Well, this one's a little different too. Gosh, it's fun. Dvořak, the wood dove. I mean, the Dvořak symphonic poems were as good as ignored until about 20 years ago. Nobody cared about them. Nobody played them. I actually have played. Well, I've done the we've done the Water Goblin and the Noonday Witch and the Wood Dove. Yeah, I've done those three in concert, and oh, they're gorgeous. They're so much fun. The Wood Dove might be the most beautiful of all. It's the one that's very closely related in terms of its atmosphere and orchestration to like Mahler's Fifth Symphony, the opening funeral march of Mahler's Fifth. Quite similar, and Mahler knew the Wood Dove. He premiered it, so yeah, that's really, really cool. So it's a great piece. Mahler did quite a bit of Dvořák, by the way. Interesting Dvořák. Compare the Scherzo of the Fifth Symphony with the horn solo to the Scherzo Capriccioso of Dvořák with the horn solo. Kind of nifty. Mahler made a program in New York of what was it, the Scherzo Capriccioso, and I think Strauss's Till Eulenspiegel, all the things with horns, along with his Fifth Symphony at some point. I don't know, but he knew these horn-led pieces quite well. So the Wood Dove is absolutely magnificent. Dukas, the Sorcerer's Apprentice. How could you not love the Sorcerer's Apprentice? I have never seen it live. I've never seen anyone try to do it. It's fiendishly difficult to play, extraordinarily tricky rhythmically, and it takes a lot of rehearsal. And it's people I don't think want to do it because I think it's too hard. I think it's too much work, at least these days. Orchestras would rather play, like we talked about with overtures, some sort of, tonal modern bit of fluff than, an extraordinary but, intricate masterpiece that takes a certain amount of like sweat and effort to pull off. But, oh, what a great piece. Smetana, my vlast. It has to be on any list. I mean, first of all, you have to love it. It's one of the great national romantic exordiums in all of music. Exordia. You could just leave the Moldau and, do it separately, but nah, do the whole work. It's such a great work, and it works so well when you play the whole thing together. It really does. It's such an uplifting experience. I've seen it live several times, and it works fabulously. So my vlast is definitely one of them. That's number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6, Debussy, La Mer. Oh, God, I love La Mer. Really, all of Debussy's orchestral works are tone poems, right? There's Iberia, there's Roland de Printemps, there's Gigue. They're all tone poems, or The Afternoon of a Faun, which is a tone poem / ballet, however you want it, the nocturnes. They're groups of tone poems. So you might want to say Debussy's complete orchestral music, but you don't have to. I'm sticking with La Mer, just the most iconic evocation of the ocean that anybody ever wrote, and an amazingly colorful and powerful and evocative instrumental masterpiece. So La Mer, yes. Strauss, yeah, Richard Strauss. We've got to do Richard Strauss, don't we? This may disappoint some of you because I'm not picking one of his more odious masterpieces. I go with Don Juan. It was early Strauss. It was where his genius burst upon the universe with orchestral writing of unquenchable energy and sex appeal and glittery glamorousness. And it's all over within 16 minutes, which I think is really all, as long as it ever needs to be. In fact, very little that Strauss wrote needs to be longer than 16 minutes. The fact that it is often is not, is his problem, not ours. But, oh gosh, it's gorgeous. It's just perfect. It's perfect in form. It's perfect in its descriptive intent. It gets the job done like nothing else. And when it's over, it's over. It's not like everything else Strauss wrote where it's over and then there's 15 more minutes of music that sounded like it should have been over. So, Don Juan, incredible work. Honegger, Pacific 231. One of the categories of tone poems that I find irresistibly fascinating is, tone poems about modern life things. Locomotives are wonderful, airplanes, Mossilov's Iron Foundry, that could have been on this list. I mean, things that are mechanical, it's a whole area of orchestration, which was new. It was new to the 20th century. Why? Because it took people out of the equation, basically. The music was no longer representative of the human singing voice and characterizing either nature or characters, people having a story or something like that. No, instead it was pure, cold, steely, alien mechanism. And orchestras do that extraordinarily well. And some pieces combine the two. Pacific 231 is a wonderful example because it begins in an almost purely mechanical fashion, and then it gradually acquires a certain humanity as it builds to the climax. You get real tunes, and then all of a sudden it grinds back to its mechanical halt. And it's that increasing personalization and humanization, anthropomorphization, if you want to call it that, of the music that gives it such strength and power, and the contrast between the two kinds of music, the mechanical and the more human and vocal. Fantastic piece and absolutely fascinating. So there's that one. Then Sibelius. Oh, of course, one of the great tone poets from the beginning of the 20th century. Pohjola's Daughter. That is such an amazing piece of music. I mean, I can sing the whole thing, and I'm going to do it right now. Just kidding. That was just a threat. But it really is an extraordinary work that tells a fabulous story that's not the story it tells. The thing that Sibelius knew and understood is that whatever the inspiration was, the music tells its own story and has to be satisfying in its own formal architecture. So the story of Pohjola's Daughter is that Väinämöinen meets the daughter of the North. That's Pohjola, is a place, the North. The daughter of the Northland. That's what it means. Pohjola is not like some guy who had a daughter named, whatever her name was. No, she is the maiden of the North. She gives him 3 impossible tasks, and he winds up chopping off his own foot. Well, if you listen to the way the piece works, there are only 2 impossible tasks. And his frustration at both of them is evident. One bit of frustration is it's either laughter on the part of the daughter, or it's howls of defeat on the part of Väinämöinen, and then he gallops off on his sled and goes off. So you've got an opening that sort of depicts some sort of ancient runic storytelling, and then we hear Väinämöinen and his sled chugga 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 coming up, and you hear the spinning wheel going around like this, and then he has this big pompous chorale. Here I am, the great mighty Väinämöinen, and the daughter's sitting there with the harps like this, going, yeah, sure, I hear ya. And then there are 2 development sections, both of which end in abject failure, at which he gets on his sleigh and goes flying off, very angry in frustration. It's a wonderful tale, but it's musically satisfying. It's the form of the music that works. It isn't because it follows the story literally. And that's a very, very interesting fact that all great tone poems share. The more literal they are, the less musical they become. The music has to follow its own rules, and the successful tone poem does just that. It simultaneously evokes its subject while following its own laws. So that's my treatise on tone poetry. Next, Franck Bridge, Enter Spring, one of the enormous masterpieces of British music at the beginning of the 20th century, scarcely known. It was from, I think, the 1920s or so. It's glorious. It's a fabulous, fabulous piece, brilliantly scored. It creates some marvelous tunes on the way, and if you don't know it, you really ought to give it a listen. It's powerful and tart and tangy and refreshing. It's a tremendous piece of music. Janáček, Taurus Bulba. He called it a rhapsody for orchestra, but it's a tone poem in 3 movements, each of which has the death of Andre, the death of Ostap, the death of Taurus. They're all about death, but in a nice, exciting way. There's battles, there's a love scene, there's church bells, there's the apotheosis of Taurus Bulba at the end with the organ and the bells clanging. It's just astonishingly, gloriously fabulous. Bax, Arnold Bax, he's back. Oh, all you Baxians, I mean, you've just got me hooked. What can I tell you? I'm coming back to the planet Baxia for my summer vacation at some point. Have my cabana ready, please. Tintagel. I played this piece. It's a beautiful work. It's so much fun. And the opening is just the most glorious evocation of waves crashing on the cliffs and seabirds soaring and chirping around. And it's just gorgeous. And it has some stormy moments and scary moments and whatnot. But wow, what an incredibly colorful evocation of the ocean and wherever Tintagel is. Don't tell me, I don't care. It would just be disappointing if I ever went there. It would probably have a Burger King and a Fortnum and Mason on the corner and a giant parking lot. And no. I would rather imagine it as the music depicts it. Respighi, The Pines of Rome. God, yes. Well, the whole Roman trilogy. I could have just put the Roman trilogy and it included all three under one, but I'm just going with the Pines of Rome, and you can listen to all three. But there's so much Respighi that could have been here. I was really torn between that and the Botticelli pictures, which I just adore. But the Pines of Rome is just, oh, come on. It's such a pedal to the metal ball buster of an orchestral extravaganza. And I never get tired of it. I've played that a couple times too. That was the piece I played, by the way, where the organ wouldn't stop. At the end, it was, we did the whole thing. I mean, it was with one of those community orchestras that had like 5 string players and a full complement of woodwinds, brass, and percussion, and an organ, and the piano, and the record with the nightingale twittering, with like half a cello and 2/3 of a viola. We didn't care. And we were in a little church and we just blew the roof off the thing. But then at the very end, we hit the last chord. The conductor gave the cutoff and the organ was still going. And the guy who was playing the organ was like, and he's like pushing buttons and pulling levers. It was an electronic thing and it wouldn't stop. So I was right there, with my tam-tam next to the organ. And it had this enormous, connection to the, speakers and the whole electronic, the rest of the console. All these organs, modern organs, it was a pipe organ. It was pneumatic pipe organ, but they had, the console was electrically attached by this enormous thing. So I walked up to it and I just pulled it out and they went, meow. And that was the end of the Pines of Rome. And I love it still. Here's a novelty, but it just hooked me the minute I heard it. Frederick Shepard Converse, Fliver 10 million. It's another one of these mechanical things, and it's really cool because it's Fliver was a Ford, and they had a celebration of the 10 millionth production, the production of the 10 millionth model of the Fliver, and they commissioned Converse to write this tone poem, which he did. When was the last time you had a major industrial organization, commission a tone poem that people liked? Because it's wonderful. It begins with mechanical noises, and Fliver gets produced and sets off on his way. He has an accident, things happen, but it's just phenomenally wonderful because Fliver becomes a person, so the mechanical becomes human. Compare it to Pacific 231. It's a fabulous work, brilliantly scored, tons and tons of fun, and it's on Naxos, so give it a shot. You're going to just be thrilled. Another sort of a novelty, Joseph Suk, A Summer Tale. This is a 5-movement symphonic poem that's huge. It's 50 minutes long. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It's the successor to his Azrael Symphony. All of these works he wrote in the wake of the death of his wife, Adelie, who was Dvořák's daughter. And he worked his grief out in a series of pieces. This is, I think, the most beautiful of the 4 tone poems. They were Azrael, A Summer Tale, Ripening, and what's the other one? Oh, goodness gracious. It'll come to me probably. Oh, Epilogue. There we go. I knew I'd get it. But this is, I think, really a masterpiece with tremendous music. And it ends with an adagio called Night. That is just one of the most heartfelt and beautiful pieces of music I've ever heard in my life. Give it a shot. If you don't know it, it's been recorded now at least half a dozen times. So it's not hard to find, and it is beyond beautiful and moving. Just wonderful. It's what a Strauss tone poem ought to be if Strauss had a better sense of timing. Let's put it that way. It's rich like that. Oh, God, amazing. And last but not least, number 16, Martinu, The Frescoes of Piero della Francesca. An extraordinary piece. It's a late work, late Martinu, and it takes the it's a triptych. It's in 3 movements. And he wrote a bunch of these toward the end of his life. There's the parables and the estampes, the sketches, prints, whatever they're called, whatever those things are, estampes. And wow, oh, wow. They're all wonderful in their way. They really are. But the Frescoes of Piero della Francesca is the best known. It is music like nobody else could write. It's dreamy and evocative and illuminated from within. And you can look at the frescoes of Piero della Francesca and their sort of cool, luminous beauty and hear what he's illustrating in the music. It works really, really well. An incredible piece, and by an amazing composer who's really come into his own in the past few decades, in the 21st century. So there you have it, my friends. 16 tone poems I couldn't live without. I'm really looking forward to your list of 16 tone poems you couldn't live without. But make it the ones that you really feel. Don't worry about me. It's about you. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.